Usually, I do not look forward to this trip to the spring, but today I welcome the chance to get away where it's quiet. You see, today I must make a very important decision. My decision is whether or not to leave my valley. My family, my mother, my father, my younger brother, my little sister, we are sharecroppers in this valley in southern Brazil. We're a very close family. There are over 30 families that live in this valley. We build small dams down in the valley. With the water they save when it rains, we raise our rice crop. Our farm is small, about 2.5 acres. Many of the young people who have left our valley have moved to Marília. That's the city closest to us. It's about 18 miles. Oh, at one time or another, I guess almost everyone leaves their home. Yes, opportunity is growing in Brazil, but I have only a 5th grade education. So what would I do if I moved to the city? The only thing I know is rice farming. Marília has a number of large factories. One of these is a candy manufacturer, and there are a lot of young people that work there. Yet there's something about the city that gets me excited, but it also makes me feel very uncertain. But Marília is important to me and my family, for there is where our church is, St. Peter's Lutheran Church. Our pastor, Gene Farragut, and his family are from the United States. The reason we happened to find a Lutheran church was because we heard a broadcast of a Lutheran church service on a transistor radio. Then one Sunday, about 3 years ago, early in the morning, we took the bus into church. We were accepted warmly. And ever since, we have felt close to our Christian family, although it's not very often that we can get into town for the Sunday worship. Our church is very important in our lives. It's because of our church that I have to make this decision today. I remember the day this all started. Pastor Gene had driven out to the farm, the fazenda, to pick me up. He was bringing me to a youth meeting at church. As we drove along, he asked me, jokingly, if I had a girlfriend. But really, he was asking me a much more serious question. He was asking me my thoughts about my future. Oh, I used to have some dreams of the future, but now, like my father, I have learned to be practical. I told the pastor about a new agriculture school I'd heard of. I understood that the school was run by the government, so it was free. But it was 30 miles from home. But we didn't have the 8 cents a day bus fare to go to and from school. We talked a great deal more as we drove along. Then the pastor turned to me and said, "You know, Carlos, perhaps there is a way that your church can help you with that bus fare to school." During the meeting, I would find myself thinking about going back to school. As I looked around, so many of my friends here from the church were going to school. At least most of them had a high school education, and others had started in good jobs. I thought of agriculture becoming more and more important in our country. It would be good for me to go to agriculture school. After all, I am a farmer. Right there, I made my decision. I would tell the pastor, yes, I would very much like his help. I asked Pastor Jean to come talk to my mom and dad about my idea to go to agriculture school. He explained to mom and dad that somehow, through our church, he could hopefully find the money to pay my bus fare. And of course, too, there might be books and other expenses along the way. The pastor told me mother was joyful with the idea, but father was more cautious. Perhaps father had had so many hard knocks in his life that he had lost hope. As the pastor listened, he began to understand the doubts of my father. My father has always seen me as a farmer, like himself, and like his father before him. Perhaps he didn't want to lose my help. But Pastor went on to say that mother's joy overcame father's skepticism. Mother said she had been concerned about me, but now there was an answer. They approved my enroll in the agriculture school.
Quer nas lutas, quer nas provas, quer nas lutas, quer nas provas, a igreja sempre caminhando, sempre caminhando, sempre caminhando. Oh glória, aleluia, a igreja sempre caminhando. Oh glória,
I felt a bit nervous on the trip to school. Not that I didn't have confidence in myself. I had done well in school before. But I guess I was nervous about talking with the director. Neither I nor the pastor had never been in the school before. I remember I was glad that my pastor was with me.
Português, educação moral e cívica.
We chatted for a few minutes about the growing importance of agriculture and the need for modern technology. And then the director turned to me and asked if my ginásio papers were in order. Ginásio? That's high school. This school requires a high school diploma. My heart sank. I did not know this. The pastor explained to the director that I had graduated first in my class in grammar school, but I had not had the opportunity to go on in high school, and that I was a farmer. The director apologized, but there could be no exceptions.
Queremos conhecer.
Então vamos conhecer.
Tá bom.
Realizando, eu acho que nós pensamos de mudar. Eu gosto de mudar daqui, de lavar roupa, de...
After my disappointment at the agriculture school, I was becoming resigned to the fact that father was right. No one in our family had ever gone on in school, and who was I to think I was different? And yet, mother, in her quiet way, told me that I should not give up hope. I should have faith. Perhaps the Lord had another plan for me. It was about a month later, when one evening, after a youth meeting, the pastor asked me to stay and visit with his wife, Lorraine, and him.
Este momento de decisão para o futuro.
He said he hadn't forgotten about me in school. Matter of fact, He had spoken to our church council about me. They felt that, as part of their family, they would help me with a scholarship. I was about to ask the pastor, but what kind of school can I go with just a 5th grade education? The pastor said he had already contacted a Lutheran school in Londrina. They told him there would be an opening for someone in about a month. He told them that he would talk to me and he would get back to them. I was excited, I was flattered, but I was confused. Going to agriculture school didn't mean leaving home. Londrina was 200 miles away. I was needed on the farm. First, because it was almost time for the rice harvest. And then also, we had been planning to build a new house. And if I were away from home when it rained, I would worry that my family was getting cold and wet. And maybe if the wind was strong enough, the house would even fall over. I would feel very guilty, being in a school warm and dry. We talked for a long time that evening about my responsibilities, about my future, and about this opportunity. The pastor reminded me many times, it is your life, Carlos, and you must make the decision. He said that I should pray about this, and that Lorraine and he would pray for me too.
É o fato que ele falou que nós queremos.
Peso que vai sozinho. A senhora vai pra lá ou vem pra cá? Vai pra lá? Então, tchau.
Tchau.
All the next day, I was burdened with the weight of that decision. In the afternoon, I went over to see Mario. Mario and I had grown up together in this valley. Maybe if I would talk it over with him, it would help. I told Mario about my conflict. On one hand, my responsibility. On the other one, my opportunity. When I told Mario that the school would begin in a little over a month, he told me that by then, all our rice harvest should be finished. And perhaps, too, his brother, Osiel, could help to build the new house. He had helped many others to build houses in this valley. He was sure that his father would also loan us his horse. Now things seemed to be coming together for me. It all felt right. Maybe this was a sign that I should go to school. I would talk with Osiel, and I would tell my pastor, yes. The house construction was going well. We found sturdy trees to build with.
Então esse aqui já pode pegar, né?
The pastor shared my plan with a member of the congregation, and he gave us 10 for the roof. My family would have a warm and dry house, better than I would have imagined. While harvesting the rice, I learned something. I learned that my little brother Vanderlei was growing up. Vanderlei would be a big help in the farm when I was off to school. Perhaps by my going to school, this might help encourage Vanderlei. And someday I might help him go to school. Pastor Jean suggested that now, since the house was complete and the rice harvest almost in, we could hold the next worship service right here in the new house. I thought to myself how much that would please Mother.
Será que nós podemos abrir esta porta?
People from all over the valley came to the worship service. It was a housewarming, it was a harvest festival, it was a celebration of my going away to school. Pastor brought an electrical generator from the church, and some of my friends came out from church to sing. The pastor even asked me to read the scripture lesson.
Apenas uma chave que abrirá a porta do céu. E vamos ver.
It was a beautiful evening that I would never forget.
Pudermos achar qual é.
But as it turned out, that joy that was in my heart was not to last long. For it was only 2 days later, the word spread through our valley that our fazenda, the farm, had been sold. The new owner was going to mechanize the farm. He was asking all of us sharecroppers to leave. We got together and talked to our neighbors. I remember the feelings of both anger and distress. Does this now mean that I cannot go to school? But I must think of my family. Where would they move? But if I don't leave and go to school now, that I'm 17, will I ever go to school? How can I think of myself at this time? When I did, I felt guilty. But the question is now, where can we move to? Now you've heard my story, and I hope you can understand the importance of this decision for my life. Should I stay and help my family to move, or should I go away to school? I cannot do both. We're a very close family, and I've never even been away from home. What have I learned in my church that will help me make this decision? I know if I ask Pastor Jean, he would say, Carlos, it must be your decision. If I ask my father, I know what he would say. Why go to school? Why move into the city? We are farmers, and what do you know about cities? But now, when I turn to my mother and see her strength and faith, I pray that I might be more like my mother. When I get back to the house, the pastor may even be there waiting. I think I know now why the pastor always said that it must be my decision. For I must know who Carlos is.